Just say a couple random things so I can test the sound. Hickory dickory dock.
Hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock.
Lindsay, will you say a few things?
The clock struck one and down he run.
Yeah. Welcome to a brand new season of Ink Differently, the podcast that dives into the vibrant world of personalized product decoration. I'm Rhonda, your host and education manager here at Sawgrass. In each episode, I'll be chatting with the amazing minds behind Sawgrass, as well as talented Sawgrass users just like you. Together, we'll uncover inspiring stories, expert tips, and the cutting-edge innovation that makes Sawgrass the industry leader in sublimation printing and customized product design. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, this season is packed with creativity, community, and game-changing insights you won't want to miss. Our guest today is another one of my favorite people here at Sawgrass, Lindsay Sport. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. I love being one of your favorite people. So
Yes.
honored.
I feel like that may be every week, so I'm sorry. But I do have some questions for you just to help everyone get to know you a little bit better. So we're going to play a short round of Would You Rather.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather team up with Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
I mean, definitely Wonder Woman.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Do you like her powers better, her personality?
She just seems like she'd be a really great partner. She'd have your needs and your wants in front of mind. So yeah, no, Wonder Woman. She's killing it.
Okay. Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song you hear?
Ooh, what about both?
I think I already dance along to every song I hear.
I know. I definitely think I sing along whether I realize it or not. So sometimes I have to filter myself. So yeah, I guess maybe sing.
Okay. Would you rather be stuck in a romantic comedy with your worst enemy or in a horror movie with your best friend?
Oh my God, romantic comedy. No, I'm not looking to die today. I'm good.
Right. Or kill your best friend, because if you bring them with you.
Because you just have to run faster than them.
There you go, right? Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Animals.
I knew that was going to be the
You
answer.
knew that.
But
we
I
have
still
Cedar
had to
sitting
ask.
right next to us. So if we could know what he was thinking, this would be a much more exciting podcast, honestly.
I don't know. When Cedar's in the building, I don't know if I want to know what he's thinking half the time.
He tells you.
He does kind of tell us, yes. Would you rather spend the day wearing wet socks or with a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth?
Those are both awful.
I know, right? Which is more awful? Which would annoy you
Ooh.
more?
I'd probably rather. I'd rather do the wet socks.
See, wet socks will eventually dry, but the popcorn kernel is just going to annoy no matter what.
Exactly. It's going to be much more front of mind.
It would be, yeah. Would you rather be followed by a band wherever you go or by someone narrating your life?
Band. Give me the soundtrack to my
Okay.
life. Yeah.
Okay. I like the narrator, though. I think that would be fun. What she really meant to say was...
I don't know if my inner monologue needs a narrator.
There is that. There's definitely that. Would you rather never get lost again or never lose your balance again?
Never get lost again.
Why?
Because then you're just always assured you're headed in the right direction.
True. All right. I think getting lost is fun, so I would rather never lose my
You're
balance.
such an adventurer, though.
I am an adventurer, yeah. Would you rather have horns or a tail?
A tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to accessorize.
Yeah. I feel like horns. Well, I don't know. With horns, I could wear like fun like ornaments and stuff.
There is that too. Okay, would you rather meet Bigfoot or an alien?
This is a tough one. And Rose is disagreeing with me right now. Depends on the alien, though.
True. Some aliens are more fun.
Are we
than
talking
others.
about Independence Day? Or are we talking about like
E.T.?
yeah. I'll definitely meet E.T.
There you go, there you go. Would you rather lose your sense of smell or your sense of taste?
Well, if you lose your sense of smell, you are halfway losing your sense of taste.
True.
So, sense of. I don't want to lose either one.
I know, it would be hard to live with either. All right. Would you rather live under a sky with no clouds or no stars?
Would I rather live under one?
Yeah.
With no clouds.
No clouds?
Yeah. Because stars are like one of my absolute favorite things. I feel like every time I look up at them, I get really inspired of the possibilities of the world.
Okay. And finally, would you rather wear a Dracula cape everywhere you go for a month or a pirate eye patch?
Pirate eye patch.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I could put like rhinestones on it. It could make it very accessible.
You can accessorize. Thank you, Lindsay, for playing along.
Of course.
All right. So, Lindsay, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to work at Sawgrass, and how long have you been here?
So I was a freelance contractor. I worked in brand design. I worked with retail brands throughout my career and kind of decided to take the world into my own hands. And then in part of that came across an opportunity at Sawgrass. I've been here for 5 years, but it definitely started as just a very small project that kind of grew into something amazing, and I just never left.
That's kind of the story all of us have. We came in at one position, and then we ended up in a position that was made just for us. Awesome. This is my new favorite question for employees. What did you know about sublimation before you came to Sawgrass?
Nothing. But I mean, everyone knows something about sublimation because we all have a favorite mug or a favorite tea towel that's been in our house forever. We just didn't know how it was made. We never really peeked behind the curtain there. So when I first got here and I realized, oh, this is what that is. This is how that happens. It kind of just opened everything up. And now, I mean, I see sublimation everywhere I go. I'm the annoying person. If you go shopping, I'm touching it, I'm scratching it. I'm like, that's sublimation. I wonder if Sawgrass made this. And I think my friends get really embarrassed now, but.
It's your fun party trick. You can identify how things are.
Of course. And so now less people can say they're not familiar with sublimation because I'm telling anyone that will listen.
All right. So you have, as you said, have had several different roles here. Tell us a little bit about them.
So I started as a content curator for the design tool. So mostly what I'm really great at is trend analysis, looking at design styles that are going on. I'm a designer by heart, designer by trade. So I've always been really into graphics and turning things into a visual art. So I started with kind of directing what was going into the design tool, identifying gaps, and making sure we had content that people wanted to use and that was easy to use. And so from there, kind of took over the design tool as a whole, coming from a user standpoint of, is this functional? How would we like this to work? Kind of making sure that we're making the software intuitive, making sure that it's offering the things that we love, the features that our users are going to want. And then from there, helped build the My Sawgrass platform. So that was kind of a big thing.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit to take on, but obviously made with labor of love for everyone involved. Then from there, obviously, I've always kind of really good at brand storytelling, really, really good at being a visual storyteller. So I started working with the marketing department a bit more and more as the years went on, especially as it relates to photo shoots and videos and kind of making sure our brand was putting our best foot forward. So through that, then got the opportunity to become the creative marketing director, which is where I sit now, but I still very much, use the product, love the product, make sure that we have designs that I'm seeing and love in the design tool to make sure all of our users succeed.
Awesome. Now, what is your favorite part of your job?
I mean, the first one is just to work with amazing people. Our team is very talented and very dedicated, and so to be able to surround myself with those people makes me a better creator. It makes me inspired. It's honestly given me the courage to tackle all of the things that I just told you that I never thought I'd be able to do and never considered myself a techie. So building and developing a new software platform was not really something I'd ever have in my portfolio, but everyone here is very supportive. We all tackle things that we've never done, and we do it with grace. So it makes it really fun. That's really the first piece of my job. I will say the second one is just, it's being able to see what our users create with what we do. So all that hard work that I just talked about, seeing it come together and come out in a person's product that they're making or store that they're creating, the posts that they post on social. I mean, that brings us all so much joy, because for us, it's not really about how they're using our product, it's what they're making. Like, are they making memories? Are they starting a business? Are they creating opportunities for themselves? And that's what brings us joy.
Yeah, it does. We love seeing what people are creating, so that's always a great part of it. Now, what does a typical day look like for you?
No 2 days are the same, but I think that's what makes life interesting. I will say, again, like we all work hand in hand, so it could be everything from talking to the developers about things that are going on our design tool, talking to our salespeople about our amazing dealers that we have and what they need to be able to continue to support our product. It could be organizing a photo shoot, so making sure that we have the products that are being made and shipping them and making sure the shot lists are correct. And I mean, I will say, in every day I have my beautiful dog who's staring at the door right now because he wants treats. So that's a consistent no matter where I'm at.
It always is, yes. And he likes to be rewarded if he makes it through an entire Zoom call. So.
Oh yeah, I work hard so my dog can have a better life.
There you go. I know designing is close to your heart. When it comes to adding content to the design tool, what do you prioritize?
There's two things that I prioritize. One is definitely from a need perspective. So being able to see what is it that our users are wanting to make but can't. Maybe what are the utilitarian things that we forget, signage, logos, things like that. So trying to identify what we're missing is always a priority to be able to get that in. From the second piece of it, it is making sure that we're staying relevant and that we're staying on trend. So for me, it's looking at what's happening in the stores that you shop at, on Etsy, on all of the things that we see day to day, but being able to translate that into knowing what our users are going to want to create and what's going to sell to their customers.
I want to pick your brain as a designer and kind of help our users, because I know a lot of them are designing on their own, or hopefully they're going to try to design on their own, whether it's using parts of what we've created or not. So what do you think are the keys to a great design?
Great design comes in many forms, so it can be sometimes hard to define that. I think there are some telltale things that can make a good design go to a bad design very quickly. One of those being fonts. So you guys know me, you know that I'm a huge font person, but it's because a lot of people will spend a lot of time on the artwork, they'll spend a lot of time on the theme, and then just splash a font on it and call it a day. To me, that's like taking a really great outfit and pairing it with tacky shoes. You've ruined it from that point forward. The whole thing is now mismatched. So thinking of fonts as artwork is a really great way to go about it. Fonts have personalities the same way that, color palettes do, the same way products do. So making sure that you're pairing the correct fonts with the correct design. I've seen the data. I know that a lot of our users use fonts that start with the letter A. So my biggest piece of advice would be to explore. I'm not saying any of the fonts in our design tool are bad. We specifically curated every font that's in there. There's a specific use case for it, but it's being able to know if you're going for an elegant design or professional design, maybe filter by serif. If you're gonna go for a modern, clean design, go for the sans serif fonts. You want something that's a little more personal, let's filter it by the handwritten fonts. And making sure those fonts are legible as well. Scripts are great for anything that you want to do that's more elegant and elevated, a little more romantic, so great for weddings, great for personalization. And then we have decorative fonts. Don't ignore them. Don't go crazy with them. Not everything needs a Halloween script, but we do have some really fun ones in there for everything, and you just use them sparingly.
Yeah. Use the filter so that you're able to see past the A's and you're able to see a little further down. Yeah. And then also use the favorite.
Oh, yes, that is true. I know how it is as a designer, you get so excited to launch that design, and going through 100 fonts does not sound like a great use of your time. But if you will just familiar yourself with them and favorite the ones that you like, just to be able to shorten that list down a little bit more, then you're going to get consistency across your collections, and you're going to be able to create those designs much more quickly.
Yeah, creating your own little font book so you're not having to search. So you know what your favorite serif is, your favorite sans serif. Really helps get you there a lot faster.
Absolutely. And I will say that for my Sawgrass Plus users, the upload your own font tool is an amazing tool. You can go find your favorite fonts that maybe we don't offer within the tool, but you can upload yourself, create your own custom font book, and you're still gonna get that editability, you're still gonna get that personalization that you want from that without being limited to what we've selected for you. So if you have a specific personality, you have a specific design style, create your own font book.
Awesome. Now, colors. I know this is a big one for our users. This is one they really struggle with. When choosing colors, what should a designer keep in mind?
The same way as fonts, colors have personality. Now, we could sit here and we could talk for hours on color theory. I don't think, you can go Google it and figure out the psychology behind all of it. But for the most part, if you're looking to do traditional professional designs, you're going to stick with the classic traditional color palettes. You're going to want bold colors, reds, greens, blues, more in the dark family, so navies, maroons, hunter greens. They're going to evoke that royal, that elitist kind of feeling there. If you're wanting something that's a little more modern, a little more upbeat, you're going to go for the brights. So we're talking like the vibrant blues, the hot pinks, the goldenrod yellows. So making sure that there's energy in the colors that you choose. Mixing those with black will then give you an abstract modern pop feel, or you can keep them bright to keep them kind of in more of like, kind of the upbeat sunray vibe. If you're wanting something like soft and romantic, leaning towards pastels. So, the baby pinks, the blushes, the sky blues, seafoam greens, that's going to kind of keep everything mellow. It's going to be more relaxed. So that's going to kind of give you that elegant feel there. For me, color palettes, there's so many options. I mean, you can use contrast to kind of have a little bit of intrigue and a little more energy, or you can use complementary palettes that are going to be a little more cohesive, a little more easy on the eyes. So I just say go find inspiration. Whether it's through nature, I always tell people color palettes are in nature all the time. And if it works for the world, if it works for nature, then it's going to work visually for humans as well. But also, if you like something, if you see something in a store and you like it, or you have a piece of art that you love, just something that speaks to you, look at the colors that are in it. Pull inspiration from there. And then also go to Pinterest. There's plenty of color palettes that have already been curated that you can use inspiration from. You don't have to come up with everything yourself. I mean, this is a collaborative world, and just use the tools that are out there.
Okay, so back on fonts. When choosing fonts, what should the designer keep in mind? Like, how many fonts should they use? What types of fonts work together? How do you mix and match?
Yeah, that's really, don't go too crazy with fonts. I mean, there's a rare occasion where maybe that's your design style, but they have to be super intentional. I would say mixing a script with a serif or a sans serif font is usually a good idea. You do want a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of visual art there with it. Like I said, fonts and type is a form of art, so not being scared to do that. I wouldn't go beyond more than 2, 3 max. Like I try to pick 2 that go really well together. One that's maybe the anchor of the design, so that's going to be a serif or a sans serif, depending on my trend that I'm trying to go for, and then I'll pair it with a script. So if you're doing a serif font, I would try to find a more traditional script to go with that. If you're doing a sans serif, you can actually go a little more fun, a little more funky, depending on the vibe you want to hit there.
Now, you said trends. What are the design trends that you're seeing currently?
We're seeing some really fun ones. I mean, right now, there's always going to be this kind of throwback that we've been seeing for a while now. Right now, we're kind of living in the 90s moment. So for me, it touches my heart a little bit because it's the era that I grew up in. So it definitely is odd to walk into a store and be like, oh, I think I bought that when I was in middle school. But with that, you're going to get a lot of nods to what was going on in the 90s. So you're going to have a little bit of a grunge vibe. When you think of fonts, that is a big thing. You're going to have newspaper style. You're going to have eroded, kind of textured fonts. But also understanding in the 90s, we had a tech boom. So anything with 3D typography, kind of like this, like tech type fonts really work there. We're seeing, of course, like a lot of trends that we saw. Cherries are everywhere. So that's, and these big, bold statements. Like it was a mixture of feminine with grunge with bold. So it's a very interesting dynamic there, but there's something for everyone, honestly. And then another one that we're seeing, which is really interesting, is heritage. So I think we call it one thing after another: vintage, traditional. This year it's called heritage, but it's thinking about kind of the nostalgia of everything. So thinking about the prints and the colors that were maybe in your grandmother's home. So a little bit darker, a little bit more, the patterns are a little more ornate. Think of like vintage china, think of lace, think of texture. Those things that just make you feel like heirlooms that your family had. So we're seeing really fun things there with mixing of patterns, kind of a maximalist thing. It's honestly going the opposite of where we were coming out of COVID days, where everything was very minimalistic. Now we're kind of in a maximalist phase where you can't have enough color, you can't have enough texture, you can't have enough print. And so for some, I know mixing prints can be scary, but the key is really to pick one anchor print. So that's going to be your floral or something with, maybe those decorational elements, and then pair it with complementing stripes, plaids, dots, things that may seem boring, but when you put them all together, then you get this really nice visual story. And they don't have to be matchy-matchy, but just making sure they complement together. The last one that we're seeing, I think everyone can agree with this, is food and veg is everywhere. Cherries and pickles have had their year. So thinking of that, like as we were looking at summer and spring, we had fruits, we had farmers market, we had, the tomatoes, we had sardines and fish, which kind of came about for summer. So for fall, I would recommend looking at kind of apples and pears, the harvest table. So, gourds and pumpkins and things, carrots, root vegetables, paired with leafy greens. I think that's going to continue throughout the year. So just making sure you're using seasonal for that. And I think you'll be ahead of the trend.
Oh, nice. Is there anything specific you should keep in mind when designing something that will be sublimated?
Yes, you should always understand that there is not white ink. This was something, as a digital designer, it was definitely something that I had to break, because you do have to understand that the product itself is becoming part of the design. I think that's something that designers or artists a lot of times they think about the design as separate from the product. They don't actually think about how the product and the design are going to marry each other to become the actual finished product or the gift that you're going to give someone. So keeping that in mind when you're designing is really, really important, because yes, in sublimation, a lot of the products are white, but how is that ceramic going to look through? How is that stainless steel going to look through in the design? And then using that to your advantage.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about our design tool is that it starts with the template. So it starts with the product and it kind of gets you thinking in that. But you're right. Let the design breathe a little bit. You can include white, just knowing that it's going to be the product that's showing through in those areas.
Yep, exactly.
Is there anything specific you should keep in mind when designing something that's going to be used with VersiFlex light paper? We'll talk specifically first about t-shirts. So what should you keep in mind with t-shirts? And I think we just answered it, right?
Yeah, I mean, with VersiFlex, understanding the product is even more important, because what we're offered is the flexibility and the opportunity to design on a variety of more fabrics, textures, colors than we ever have in the past. So truly understanding, what is that color going to do to your design? Is it going to help it or enhance it? The way I think about VersiFlex, more so than I even do about sublimation, is VersiFlex should be what you're using to enhance the product that you have. You're not overprinting on that product. You're not creating something new out of that product. You're enhancing it. Because with a t-shirt, if you're using a gray or you're using a yellow, that's your base. You don't want to fight it, because otherwise use a different color t-shirt. So it's just, when you're using the fabrics that you're using, the materials that you're using, make it part of the design instead of trying to impose your design onto it.
Yeah. All right, now same question, but when using wood. So using VersiFlex light on wood, what do you think you should keep in mind when you're designing?
Yeah, with wood, I really like to have that natural, the grain, the color shine through in the design. That means keeping the design, don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to do a full print, full color, because otherwise you're hiding the beauty of the product that you're using. So I would say definitely trying to incorporate the wood in the design. I really love to use natural colors versus even like some blacks. So I use dark browns versus blacks when decorating on wood, because that's just going to give it more warmth. It's not going to overtake the product. It's actually going to work with the product, give it a softer look. And for me, I love using that dark brown because it gives you that etched effect without having to like have a laser cutter. So all you have to do is print, press, and peel, and you have what looks like an aged barrel sign or an etched wood coaster or ornament, and it just gives it a really luxe look. So that's a really good tip about design in general. Is it doesn't have to be complicated, just as long as it's simple and clean.
All right. Now, for someone who's just starting out, they're looking to make their first design, what steps should they take?
I would say for your first design, like I've kind of said before, pick the product first. You can come up with the art, but if you don't really know what that's going to go on, it can sometimes just work against you. So if you know that you want to create a mug first, start with that and then think about, what would you want to drink out of? What would someone who's going to buy your product want to drink out of? Is there a funny saying that you're seeing? What speaks to you? So pick the product first, design on it, and then kind of see where it goes. And then my advice to people is, don't just think on a product to product basis. Think about collections. So when you walk into Target, you're going to see a collection of things that go together, because their goal is they want you to buy more. So you don't want to just create one mug and walk away, one t-shirt and walk away. You want to create collections that go together. So when you do find a design that speaks to you or works for you, think of everything that you could put it on and just put it all out there, because, the more the merrier.
Well, I've watched enough Project Runway to know that people often struggle with what makes the collection cohesive. So when we come to design, what do you think is the secret to making a collection cohesive?
It really is. You've either got to have cohesion through fonts. So again, pick 2 fonts and carry those throughout the collection. And it's got to be color palette. So making sure that whatever color palette you're using, you don't have to use every color in every product, but having a set, I like to pick 5 to 6 swatches that are giving me the range that I want. And then throughout the collection, where it makes sense, I'll mix and match those colors. So some products will have all of the colors, some products maybe will just feature one, but together they'll all work.
Awesome. All right, final question. What are your last tips that you want to leave designers with, or anyone creating?
Don't be scared to try. I think that's something I even struggle with at this stage in the game as well, is being afraid to mess up, being afraid to do a design that's not going to work, or be afraid to print something and press something that's not going to work. You don't know unless you do it. And honestly, like with everything that we've built, if it doesn't work, you can try again. I mean, it's just reminding yourself to take the chance and put yourself out there.
Awesome. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much. I know your day's really, really busy. Thank you for hanging out with us and sharing your tips.
Of course. I can't wait to see what everyone creates.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Ink Differently. We'll drop a new episode the 2nd and 4th Fridays of every month. But don't worry, you can catch us other times as well. Join us for our live workshops on our YouTube channel every Tuesday and Wednesday. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.